Workplace bullying scandal at Taiwan's labor branch. Taiwan lawmakers clash over election law amendment. Foreign dental graduates file lawsuit against Taiwan's health ministry. Greeks stage general strike to demand higher pay. Spain moves to legalize hundreds of thousands of migrants. Jimmy Lai testifies for the first time in landmark trial. Putin gifts lions and bears to North Korean zoo. Japanese manicurist turns sea trash into nail art.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Thursday, November 21st, and here are your top stories. And for today's Taiwan news, a 39-year-old civil servant at the Ministry of Labor's Northern Branch was found dead in an apparent office suicide, raising concerns about workplace bullying. Reports suggest the victim endured excessive workloads, long shifts, and verbal abuse from the director. Another employee has filed a similar complaint, prompting a labor inspection by the new Taipei Labor Department. The Legislative Yuan's Interior Committee reviewed the Election and Recall Act amendments, sparking clashes between DPP and KMT lawmakers. Despite starting the meeting, Committee Chair Xi Xingying had to announce a recess after the microphone was seized. The bill has sparked no ongoing disputes over higher recall thresholds. 9 foreign dental graduates have filed an administrative lawsuit against Taiwan's Ministry of Health, challenging a rule limiting annual internship slots to 50, which delays their training. Tensions flare outside court between a graduate's mother and a local dentist association board member. And in global news, ships docked at Greek ports and railway and bus services were disrupted on Wednesday as transport workers, hospital doctors, school teachers, and construction workers joined a nationwide strike to protest squeezed living standards and demand higher pay. Many Greeks saw their wages and pensions slashed in exchange for bailouts worth 280 billion euros during a 2009 to 2018 debt crisis, which reduced Greece's economic output by a quarter and nearly pushed the country out of the Eurozone.
With the Greek economy recovering steadily since 2018, Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has raised the minimum monthly gross wage 4 times since taking power in 2019, bringing it to €830 a month. The government has also promised to raise it further to €950 by 2027. However, Greeks say these increases are insufficient, as their salaries, which still lag behind the European average, do not cover their monthly expenses amid escalating energy, food, and housing costs. GSEE has also called for government action against oligopolies, blaming them for concerted practices that have driven up the cost of basic goods. The draft budget projects economic growth of 2.3% next year, alongside higher tax revenues driven by expanding digital payments and booming property sales.
Spain will grant residency and work permits to about 300,000 migrants living in the country illegally each year for the next 3 years. The policy, set to take effect next May, aims to expand the country's aging workforce. Unlike other European nations tightening their borders against illegal crossings and asylum seekers, Spain has remained largely open to receiving migrants. Migration Minister Alma Says stated in an interview on Wednesday that Spain needs around 250,000 registered foreign workers a year to maintain its welfare state.
She contended that the legalization policy is not aimed solely at cultural wealth and respect for human rights, it's also prosperity. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has often described his government's migration policies as a means to combat the country's low birth rate. The new policy simplifies administrative procedures for short and long-term visas and provides migrants with additional labor protections. It extends a visa previously offered to job seekers from 3 months to 1 year. According to the country's Interior Ministry, by mid-November, some 54,000 migrants had reached Spain this year by sea or land. The exact number of foreigners living in Spain illegally remains unclear.
Jail Hong Kong media mogul Jimmy Lai on Wednesday denied seeking to influence foreign policy against China as he took the stand for the first time in his national security trial, fighting charges of colluding with foreign forces. Lai, founder of the Apple Daily and an outspoken critic of China, has been in jail for nearly 4 years. He is the most high-profile individual to be charged under the national security law, which Beijing imposed on Hong Kong in 2020 to crack down on the pro-democracy movement.
The law targets secession, subversion, terrorism, and collusion with foreign forces, but critics argue it breaches the one country, two systems framework, which is meant to guarantee the people of Hong Kong a degree of autonomy and freedoms not afforded to the mainland. Hong Kong authorities charged Lai with colluding with foreign forces to sanction, blockade, or engage in other hostile activities, as well as conspiracy to publish seditious material under a British colonial-era law. If found guilty, the 76-year-old could face a maximum sentence of life in prison. A graphic shown to the court on Wednesday outlined Lai's foreign connections, including a 2019 meeting with then Vice President Mike Pence. Lai testified that he was updating the United States on the situation in Hong Kong at the time.
Russia transferred over 70 animals to Pyongyang Central Zoo from Moscow Zoo as a gift to North Korea, strengthening ties between the two nations. The animals include an African lion and 2 brown bears. The government described the animals as a gift from Russian President Vladimir Putin to the Korean people. Alexander Kozlov, Russia's natural resources minister, oversaw the relocation, with the animals transported by plane to Pyongyang Central Zoo and accompanied by veterinarians from the Moscow Zoo.
Pictures published by the Russian government showed a white cockatoo traveling in a crate, while Kozlov was given a tour of the Korean zoo by local officials. In April, Russia donated birds, including eagles, cranes, and parrots, to the Pyongyang Central Zoo. Pyongyang and Moscow have strengthened ties since Putin visited North Korea in June and signed a treaty with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. During that trip, Kim gifted Putin a pair of Pungsan dogs, a local breed, and the two leaders took turns driving each other in a Russian-built Urus limousine. Earlier this month, North Korea followed Russia in ratifying the treaty, which experts view as a step toward formalizing their military cooperation.
Before global leaders address the problem of plastic pollution this month, Japanese manicurist Naomi Arimoto is incorporating it into her nail art. At a beach near her home south of Tokyo, she carefully sifts sand for tiny bits of plastic to mold into decorative tips for the false nails at her salon. She came up with the idea after participating in community cleanups along the coast. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, an estimated 22 million tons of plastic waste is dumped into the environment each year.
A United Nations summit in Busan, South Korea, starting on November 25, aims to craft a landmark treaty to set global caps on plastic production. The United States, one of the world's largest plastic producers, signaled in August that it would support a global treaty, a shift that environmental watchdog Greenpeace called a watershed moment in the fight against plastic pollution. Arimoto opened a nail salon in her home in 2018 after a spinal condition forced her to leave her career as a social worker. Since 2021, she has been using amigurumi, or sea trash, to create nail art. To gather materials, she uses a custom wheelchair to scour the nearby beach each month for microplastics that other cleaners might miss.
The answer for yesterday was A, prominent. She's a prominent figure in the world of fashion design, known for her innovative creations and influence on global trends. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of Japanese manicurists turn sea trash into nail art. Number 1, manicurist, 美甲师. The manicurist gave me a beautiful manicure with a fresh coat of polish. Number 2, watershed, 转折点的. The invention of the internet was a watershed moment in the history of technology. Number 3, incorporate, 将什么纳入包含. The company decided to incorporate new features into their product to improve customer satisfaction. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.